Today on Time About the Movies, we are taking a look at 3 more films, including Zoe Saldana in yet another action movie where they're trying to pump her to be the next big action star, and let's just say this one didn't work as well as I think they wanted to. Kind of like with The Losers. Colombiana, produced by Luc Besson, directed by the man who would eventually destroy the Taken franchise with Taken 2 and Taken 3 as well. But we also have Guillermo del Toro's presentation of Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, and we also have Paul Rudd leading an ensemble cast in the comedy Our Idiot Brother. We're taking a look at the final 3 films of August 2011. That's today on Time About the Movies. Mistake number 1, making this PG-13. Mistake number 2, we'll talk about it. Welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we are taking a look at the 3 films of August 26, 2011. And we're starting off with Colombiana, in which it stars Zoe Saldana as Catalia, who's a 9-year-old girl in Colombia whose family is killed by a drug lord. And 15 years later, she's a grown woman now seeking her revenge. So it's essentially La Femme Nikita, Point of No Return. This time, instead of, Bridget Fonda or Anne Perul, it's Zoe Saldana. Talk about a major misfire of a movie here. I mean, this is one where, Luc Besson, man, this was at a point where his career was just kind of falling apart at the seams. And here's another one of those movies where it has his name attached to it, and it just leads into a very lackluster movie. I mean, Saldana's doing the best she can with the material given to her, but it just doesn't work anymore. She's not that good of an action heroine in this film. This is before anybody really had a good idea of how to use her, and, James Gunn would later use her the right way in an action movie with Guardians of the Galaxy. Not in this movie. It just doesn't work. The acting overall is lackluster. You have Michael Vartan in here, Lenny James, who else do you have in here? Cliff Curtis, Jordi Malola. Good cast overall here, but the action overall is not that great at all. It's a very big disappointment of a movie. A film you expect so much more from. And this is the best you could really do. Really? It just... And the biggest problem is the PG-13 rating, which I'm sorry. A movie like this should be a rated R movie. I feel like this needed to be rated R in order for you to get any effort or intelligence out of it. Taken was a PG-13 movie, but Taken worked because it did things that were unique and different and worked to Liam Neeson's advantages, and the action sequences worked well in that film. But in this, you could tell they were trying so hard to push for an R rating, but this is probably the studio saying, no, we gotta have a PG-13 because we gotta get the families to come out and see this. Just a terrible movie, man. A disappointment on so many levels. What a waste of time with this film. What a complete waste on everyone's part. Zoe Saldana is not a bad actress, but this is just one of those ones where they had no idea what to do with her. They tried to make her the next big action star with this, and it just failed miserably. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, the Guillermo del Toro production, that is Don't Be Afraid of the Dark.
Starts August 26th everywhere.
Yeah, it's probably not a good sign if you're putting the best jump scare of the movie in your trailer, and that was one of the big selling points of this movie. But it kind of dinged the film in the long term when it was all said and done. But this, I guess, isn't the worst you could do with a film like this. But it's based off of it's a remake of a 1973 made-for-TV movie by ABC, and it follows a family moving into a 19th century Rhode Island mansion with a withdrawn daughter, played by Bailey Madison, beginning to witness malevolent creatures that emerge from a sealed ash pit in the basement of the house. Katie Holmes and Guy Pearce star as the couple who raised the child, and this is written by Guillermo del Toro and Matthew Robbins. Matthew Robbins has written a lot of nostalgic 80s stuff, like Batteries Not Included, for an example. What else did he do? He did some other ones. He worked a lot with Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. He wrote the Sugarland Express. He was a contributor on Close Encounters of the Third Kind and Jaws, and he did work a lot with Guillermo del Toro as well as Ron Howard and George Lucas, so he has credibility behind him. I mean, he works with Guillermo del Toro on several of his movies like Mimic and also Pinocchio, the good Pinocchio movie from 2022, not that terrible Robert Zemeckis movie. But yeah, the movie overall has this really cool atmosphere to it, and the direction overall is pretty good. And the performances overall are fine as well. It's the jump scares that get annoying real fast. And like I said, the best one you just saw right there. Like, if you're selling that the movie just on that, and that's your best jump scare of all, it's not the way to sell you. It's not the best way to sell your film. And yet, lo and behold, the film didn't end up doing as well as they wanted it to. I mean, it did decent numbers. I mean, it wasn't a flop by any means necessary. It did make its budget back, but you expected so much more from this. And from Guillermo del Toro, you can't tell me that this was the best thing that he could come up with. Like, I know he wasn't a director on this, but I feel like if he did, he probably would have made this movie a whole lot better than it actually was. And like I said, not a bad movie, just one that should have been so much better than it actually was. Just a mediocre mixed bag. I'll give it that. So, and honestly, it's probably the best overall film we have this week, because our last movie, and this one completely fell off the rails pretty quickly. Paul Rudd is Our Idiot Brother. Yeah, as you can see from that trailer, nothing about that movie states the literal title of an idiot brother. More like a guy who's trying to be a nice guy and just ends up doing stupid things. That's one of the many problems with this movie that we have here. Ned is played by Paul Rudd, who lives a happy life growing organic vegetables on a farm with his hippie girlfriend and his dog named Willie Nelson. But an unadvised incident with marijuana at a farmer's market lands him in jail. When he gets out of jail, he's off to live with his sisters. While Ned is still happy, his sisters are much less so, as he manages to screw up one marriage, one job opportunity, one budding relationship, and one domestic partnership. He sees these problems as breakdowns in communications, but his sisters, Elizabeth Banks, Emily Mortimer, and Zoe Deschanel, which I said yesterday one of them was Rashida Jones. Rashida Jones is actually the partner of Zoe Deschanel's character in this movie. But anyway, back to here. The sisters see him as kind of an idiot, and this is definitely a movie that I'm more negative on than mixed. Because, yeah, this is a film that should be much better than it actually is, but I mean, Paul Rudd has proven time and time again that he can hold a movie on his own, like in Role Models and I Love You, Man, but it keeps the movie going, and is the strongest thing about the movie. I think he really is the best thing about it, but the biggest problem with the movie is that it's just not funny. It's really not, and it's not really terrible either. The best sum up I can describe this movie up as, the best thing I can compare it to is You, Me, and Dupree. It's very much that same movie with Owen Wilson, Matt Dillon, Kate Hudson, directed by the Russo brothers. A movie you expect so much better from, with the cast involved and the people who made it, and it just didn't work as a whole. It wasn't funny. It really was just kind of like, nobody was really that much of a douche in that movie. I mean, Owen Wilson's character was not somebody that should be causing all this chaos. Like, he never really feels like that type of a guy in that movie. And in this movie, Paul Rudd's not really doing anything in here that's considered idiotic. And for a movie that's called Our Idiot Brother, the most idiotic thing he shouldn't be known for is, he blabs about things that should be kept secret to others, and it damages relationships, and he accidentally crushes his neighbor's finger into a door. That's not idiocy. That's just life. I mean, that's just an accidental thing that happens in life. I mean, hey, my parents say stuff that they shouldn't be saying out loud to people. Does that make them idiots? No. But it really is something where it's just kind of like, you can't name a movie called Our Idiot Brother and not give me something idiotic in this movie. Will Ferrell does more idiotic things in his movies than Paul Rudd does here. And again, the cast is completely wasted in this movie. You have actors like, Paul Rudd, Elizabeth Banks, Emily Mortimer, Zoe Deschanel, Steve Coogan, Rashida Jones, Adam Scott, all being completely wasted in here, and they're not given anything to do. And it's just, it would help if there was a better writer or director involved in the script here, but not with this film. And the best thing about the movie are the four leading actors in here. They're all doing the best they can with the material given to them. It's great to see them doing something big like this, but you expect a whole lot more from them, considering who is in this cast and what this film is supposed to be. It should be much funnier than whatever the hell this movie is. This is a film that bored me to tears the first time I saw it. It's just kind of like, my God, get on with it already, because it's not working. It really is not funny at all. The only part that worked was the third act, and by that time, it was already too little too late. I was already done with it. I've had no intention on coming back to see it. I waited 14 years to see it again to see if it held up. It actually got better. It did not. It really has not gotten better in the years since then. Just such a waste of your time and effort. There's so many things that are wrong with it. I hated this movie so much. Our Idiot Brother, more like Idiot Movie, plain and simple. And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movie. So that means we're going to jump into Labor Day weekend on the next episode with 4 movies of noteworthiness. A couple of films that were clearly dumped by the studio, and then films that some of the studios believed in, like Focus Features. You know, they had The American be the #1 movie last Labor Day weekend, so they said, let's put another one of our movies out there and see what happens. And the debt is that result of that. But we also have Paranormal Activity in Space, bitches, Apollo 18, and also, hey, 3D horror is still the phrase. Let's do Shark Night and do it in 3D. And then to wrap it all off, we'll all have a good old-fashioned orgy. That's literally the name of the movie, and it's probably the best movie we have to look at on the next episode. But we'll take a look at those 4 coming up tomorrow on the show, so be on the lookout for that. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching this, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out the playlist, and also check out the last episode we did. But with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.